In a scarcity mindset, honey, it's costing you money, okay? It's costing you moolah, okay? Peace, family, peace, peace, peace. If you are new to my channel, my name is Dina Bryant. I do inspirational videos. I do some vlogging here and there, okay? And so today's video is pretty much about having a scarcity mindset, all right? Many of us, we developed a scarcity mindset from our childhood, being told, money don't grow on trees, or every time you kept going in that fridge, honey, you was not allowed to just go in that fridge anytime you wanted, okay? In some households, maybe not in yours, okay? But I know, like, when I was younger, you had to ask, like, for whatever it is that you wanted before entering the fridge. Nowadays is quite different, okay? And I want to say, if the adults who raised us, if they knew better, they definitely would have done better. I think having a scarcity mindset is really having a lack of faith, okay? And I'm speaking from myself as well, okay? You have to understand that we all have been programmed and conditioned. And recently, I just been feeling some type of way when it comes to scarcity, right? So I get food stamps every month, and I get about 900 and something, right, for me and my 3 children that's in the house. Okay, I do have 4 children. My oldest son is staying with his girlfriend. And when this week, I just noticed like a lot of scarcity wrapped around food. Like, asking my children, like, you just went in that fridge. Like, why you in there again, right? Or this gotta last and all this other stuff. And I have done videos like recently talking about budgeting, and some of you guys, you have watched my videos about budgeting and about me being on Section 8. And the goal is to, get off of Section 8 and be self-sufficient, right? And I started budgeting because, one, I wanted to learn how to budget, because no one ever really taught me like how to budget. I mean, I had one person, but she was pretty much like teaching a class, and it was like just for one night. And then I did go to a financial advisor. Ooh, so I did. So she, it was like 2 people. I said nobody ever taught me, but it was 2 people, and I really learned about budgeting in my early to late 20s, okay? And so I was on YouTube yesterday because I just was like, you know what, I'm sick of, scarcity mindset. And I thought that I was over the scarcity mindset, because when I first had my spiritual awakening, I started seeing things for what they were. Like, I don't have to dress up in order to feel like I'm beautiful, because before, that's where all my money would go, right? Like, I would just buy stuff because I felt like I wasn't good enough, right? And then so after I had my awakening, meaning I just became aware, what I started doing was I had started investing my money that I was making from Uber, and I just started investing into personal development, being around like-minded individuals that would be able to teach me, certain things, in a sense, where as though they're already living a lifestyle, and I want to live the lifestyle that they're living, so they could teach me a thing good too. And I started investing, and that went really, really good. And so recently, I'm like, where did this start coming up? It's funny because when you on your spiritual journey, sometimes you may be like, oh, well, I'm over that. And then sometimes it may come up again. And when it come up again, don't beat yourself up. Just be aware of it and do something different, right? And so yesterday I was on YouTube and I was watching videos because I'm like, you know what, this scarcity mindset, this shit got to go, okay? And I came across this psychologist who told a story about how when he was in college, he had a friend that would always bake him cookies. And instead of him eating the cookies, he would like savor the cookies because he didn't want to hurry up and eat them. And one of the things he said was by him saving the cookies wound up going bad. And then not only did he miss out on the cookies, but the friend who baked the cookies, like it was like if she would have known that he wasn't eating the cookies, he was just saving them. Most likely, probably she wouldn't ever bake more cookies for him. And one of the things this psychologist said that really got me to thinking, he said people who have scarcity mindset is like you really have lack of faith. And whenever, like if you run out of food or whatever, you gotta believe that you are going to be supplied, right? And security doesn't come from outside. Security is really within us, okay? And so it started having me think. And there's a vacuum law, and this vacuum law states that whatever it is that is not working, like if you have a car that's, it has so many problems, just get rid of the car, and another car would be replaced in its place. But you got to believe and you got to trust the process. And so yesterday I was thinking, I was like, that really makes sense what he said, what this like said about, you holding on to stuff. Like in his example, he was holding on to cookies and he wouldn't eat the cookies because he wanted to save them. And then in all actuality, he missed out on eating the cookies, right? And so it was like he still lost, okay? And so I was thinking about this. So one of the things that I started thinking about was scarcity mindset and how scarcity affects me. So from the time I had my own apartment, this is one of the things that I noticed that I do. And I'm not proud to say this, but this is one of the things that I noticed that I do. So when it's time for me to do food shopping, right? A lot of times, like I have this fear of running out of food. And so the food that is in my freezer, it like overlaps. So it'll go into the second month, the third month. And sometimes like if I was to give my sister or like my mother, like when my mother used to come to my house and I'd be like, oh my, you want this meat? She'd be like, how long did you have that meat, right? Because of the fear of running out, I would just, and this is like really a aha moment because when you start asking yourself these questions, like, why do I do this? Like, why am I like this? You could, if you sit back and analyze, you can see why you do some of the things that you do. So when I was a kid, there wasn't like real big grocery, shopping or whatever it is. Don't get me wrong, it was always food in the fridge and the pantry or whatever, the closet rather. But I would be so afraid, like in my adult years, of running out of food. What I would do is just keep shopping on, like putting new food on top of old food, new food on top of old food. And then you know what wound up happening? Just like that psychologist said, like he couldn't even eat the cookies because they went bad. And that's the same thing that I would do. Like the meats and stuff that would be in the freezer, I would wind up throwing them out because I done saved them so much that they not even good any longer. This whole budgeting thing, like I'm telling you, it definitely put things into perspective for me. And am I scared? Yeah, I'm not gonna front. I am scared because, like I said, no one ever really, taught me about budgeting except for the two ladies that I mentioned earlier. But programming when you're a kid, all those things that you have seen repeatedly, right? That's how we learn through repetition. It's like that programming is going to take more than two people, just talking to you, like, once a day, just one time, right? And so now I'm just like, although nobody ever taught you about some of these things or is not embedded in you, there's still no excuse, right? And that's what I tell myself, like, this is still no excuse, and that me and my family deserve better. And so what I did yesterday, when my children was going in the fridge, my youngest children, I just was like, they kept going. I just was like, sometimes you have to surrender, and I just was like, go ahead and get it, because I started thinking that once the food is gone, and it's so crazy because this the first time that I have allowed the food to be used up that's in my freezer, as opposed to just going food shopping on top of that food that was already in there. And I think that's where like hoarding comes in, right? Like, some people, I remember I used to watch on TLC about people who had like a hoarding problem. And the reason I believe that they have hoarding problems, yeah, is a mental thing, but I believe is because of scarcity, like the fear of running out. And some ways that you could see that you have a scarcity like mindset through impulsive shopping. That used to be me too. Like I would just buy, and that's all due to like fear of running out, fear of lack. It's so funny because the more you buy, it's like the more the ego is telling you to constantly keep on buying, and the more you feel like you don't have enough, right? Like it's crazy. And sometimes it's like the least you buy is like the more you feel whole, the more you feel like you don't need all that stuff. And that's what I noticed with my spiritual awakening. Like I started noticing it. Like all the stuff that we constantly being marketed to, like on a daily basis, it's like you really don't need all that stuff, right? It's just like a marketing strategy, and it's just pretty much so you could spend all your money, and then keep work even harder for it, which is crazy. So the whole thing I want to say when it comes to scarcity, right? We all have heard, or maybe a few of us have heard, the more you focus on something, the more that thing is going to grow, right? So the more you focusing on like, oh, I'm gonna run out. Of course you're gonna run out because that's where all your energy and all your attention is going towards. Now I know it could be challenging at times because if you've been programmed and conditioned for so long to believe that is a lack of, then most of the time probably you will constantly be operating from there. And so for me the way I see it is like, if you really want to change, or if you really want things to be different in your life, you gonna go through whatever it is. Like yesterday when I went on YouTube and I started searching up like how to get over scarcity mindset, like I was eager to learn about like getting over it. And I used to say before, I would be like, in this here universe, everything is abundance. Even in scarcity is abundance. I had got that from Aaron Dowdy, who, talks about having a scarcity and abundance mindset. And one of the things he said, is even abundance and scarcity, which is, an oxymoron. It's crazy, right? But if we look out into like Gaia, with the trees and all the leaves and stuff, and the ocean with all the water and the sand on the beach is so much. right? That we can't even count it. And so it's really wanting your life to change and really getting sick and tired. Sometimes in life, like you just got to be sick and tired of getting the same exact results. And for me, that was another thing because I was like, you know what? I'm sick and tired. It doesn't matter. This is, and I know this probably like off on a tantrum, but I guess, it goes together. It really do. All right. Um, I started saying to myself, it doesn't matter if you was to get a job, right? Or once you become monetized. Because I said to myself, Dina, if you don't know how to manage the money that comes to you, if you can't manage the small amounts, like you definitely won't be able to manage the big amounts, right? And I started thinking, like, do my children deserve, like we get off Section 8 and we self-sufficient, and then it's like, do you want to struggle, right? So I started putting things in perspective. Even with my youngest son, when we went to the store and stuff today, and how he wanted me to give him money, and I gave him money a few days ago, and he spent the money. He used my money because he left his money home, and he spent it. And then so today I said, "Come up off there, okay?" And he was kind of upset. But what I told him, I said, "Listen, you gotta learn about budgeting, and we gonna learn this together." Now I ain't tell him we gonna learn this together, but that's really what it is. Like, we gonna learn this together. And I said, like, if you eager, you're going to look up, you're going to research, and there's so much information out there. And I've been lately looking, watching this content creator named Baddies on a Budget, I think her name is. And I've been watching her, and how she budgeted and stuff like that. So if you really, really eager for your life to change, believe me, you are going to do something drastic in order for it to change. And with that being said, I love you guys, and I catch you guys on the next one. Peace.